Hi all. Today we're going to go over polynomial long division. First we're going to start out with some vocabulary. We have divisor, dividend, and quotient, which you may not remember from elementary school long division. We also have different ways to write division problems. One way is to write it as a rational expression where you have a polynomial divided by a linear expression. Or you can write it as a polynomial with the division sign that we first learned in elementary school, divided by the linear expression, both in parentheses. Okay, now when you're solving the problem, you're going to want to write it this way, just like an elementary school long division problem, where you have the divisor out here, the dividend out here, and the quotient's going to be up here. So let's go ahead and get this started. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure out how many times this first term in the linear expression goes into this first term in the polynomial expression. Okay? In this case, a cubic expression. So let's see, 2x times what is going to give me 2x cubed? Well, 2x times x squared, 2x times x squared is going to give me 2x cubed. Now, notice we lined up this x squared term with this x squared term, okay? Make sure you line up your terms. It makes it much easier to keep track of things. So I have x squared times 2x, and I'm going to write the answer down here, 2x cubed. But then I also have to multiply x squared times the other term in the linear expression. So that'll give me 9x squared. Now, you may remember from long division in elementary school, we're going to subtract this from this. One thing that's a little different from elementary school is we have to subtract an entire quantity, okay? We got to subtract this whole thing, and we have two terms in here. So what does that mean? Well, that means that we have a negative sign that we've got to distribute. So let's distribute it, and I'm going to write what happens when we distribute this negative in here in blue. So if I take negative times 2x cubed, that's going to be a negative 2x cubed. Negative times a positive 9x cubed, that's going to give me a negative 9x cubed, or 9x squared, excuse me. Negative times 9x squared is going to give me a negative 9x squared. Now we're going to go ahead and combine these terms. 2x cubed minus 2x cubed is 0. Okay, I'm not going to write it. I'm just going to leave it there like that. X squared minus 9x squared is negative 8x squared. Next step is we're going to bring down the next term in the polynomial. And so then we're going to write it right here. Now we're going to see how many times does 2x go into negative 8x squared. 2x times what gives me negative 8x squared? So 2x times negative 4x, we're going to write it up here, negative 4x. Notice the x term is lined up with the x term. Negative 4x times 2x is negative 8x squared. Negative 4x times 9 is negative 36x. Now, we're going to subtract this entire quantity. So I'm going to put parentheses there, subtract, and then I'm going to distribute this negative sign in here. Negative times negative 8x squared is a positive 8x squared. Negative times a negative 36x is a positive 36x. And now we're going to combine them. 8x, negative 8x squared minus 8, or I'm sorry, negative 8x squared plus 8x squared is 0. Negative 26x plus 36x is 10x. Now we're going to bring this down. Bring down the next term. Add it to the 10x. 2x times what gives me 10x? That would be 5, so we're going to write it up here. Okay. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 9 is 45. And we're going to subtract the entire quantity. Okay, negative times 10x is a negative 10x. Negative times a 45 is a negative 45. So 10x minus 10x is 0. 52 minus 45 is 7. So we have a remainder. I don't know if you remember writing this in elementary school, but we have a remainder of 7. So we have our answer. Fantastic. We've got it. We have our quotient. We've done the problem. We're finished. Now, I did want to show you one other way to write our remainder, or write the entire quotient, actually. So you can write it with a remainder, or you can write it, you may remember this from elementary or middle school also. Okay, I wrote the quotient here, and then instead of the remainder, I'm going to do plus 7, and then I'm going to put it over the divisor. So plus 7 over 2x plus 9. So this is another way to write your answer. And depending on what you're looking for, sometimes this is more helpful with the remainder. Sometimes this is more helpful with the rational expression at the end.